welcome to Overdrive. As always, Tim and Wilf with me, and I want to start off today talking about this vehicle behind me, the Bloodhound land speed record car, and the project is up for sale again because of delays during through COVID, through the COVID lockdown. It's put delays into the project. Which was aiming to go for the land speed record this year, but now the whole project is up for sale. What do we think on this? Is it still a goer? Is it still viable?
I know current times suggest I don't think people are going to be plowing money in it. I think it's just still going to be up for grabs until pandemic clears itself and we can start getting some financial backing back in place.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's a viable project, but it's, in a time like this, it's just pure vanity. At the end of the day, realistically, the Brits already hold the land speed record. What are we really trying to do here? When realistically we should be focusing effort somewhere else. It's, I'll be honest, motorsport junk here. I'm really not that bothered right now.
So what's it up for sale for anyway? What's the cost?
There's no actual price at the price isn't being disclosed at the moment.
Or is it like one of those things when you go into the shop and there ain't no tag on it, so it's free?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's going to be 50p, a chewing gum wrapper, and 10 B&H.
I think it's a little bit more than that. I've got a feeling.
All right, 20 B&H, and that's my final offer.
I've got a feeling it's somewhere. I've heard somewhere in the region of about 10 million.
If they give me 10 million, I'll look after it.
Just put it in the living room. Is that along with your tire coffee table as well?
Look, the Formula One coffee table, which incidentally I'm currently using to film myself from, is a valid object. Yeah,
it is. It certainly is. So we're thinking the aim, because the aim of the project was to try and break the 800 mile an hour barrier on land. They did 628 at the back end of 2019 when they were doing some shakedown tests. I think it probably is from a land speed record perspective, it's a viable project, but it's not the right time, is it? With everything.
They've better to mothball it for a couple of years. It's realistically, all the efforts are somewhere else. It's, there's various things that people should be doing right now, and it's not that. Let's try and keep going what we've already got going and get on with the wonderful world of Formula One, which is coming up again soon. And that's got my interest a lot more.
Yeah. When we're starting to see the launch dates coming up for this year's cars, which is going to be quite interesting. Most of them are leaving it right to the last minute, although McLaren are going to be launching theirs next week. Quite interesting, isn't it, to see what this year's cars are going to look like, particularly with some of the changes to the regulations for this year. What car are you looking forward to see the most?
I want to go with the W12 from Mercedes. Let's face it, it was the dominant car last year. They stopped developing it very early last year, and I think they've possibly used their time very wisely. And so I'll be interested.
It's just going to be exactly the same as last year's one. It's not going to be no different. It's going to have a little tweak. It's going to look exactly the same. It's going to have Lewis sitting in it, and it's just going to go fast. That's all that's going to be different. right? Nothing's going to change.
Well, it's not going to have the DAS steering system, the push me pull you steering that last year's car had, that they developed. So that's going to be.
Yeah, but we're talking aesthetically. We're not just talking inside. We're not talking about your pulley pull system, right? Get rid of that. It's just going to look exactly the same with a few minor tweaks, right?
It's going to be front suspension. Let's face it.
Yeah, and I think they've already said they're going to keep with the black livery. They're not going back to the silver livery. They're going to keep the black livery for this year.
Yeah, you know what I want to see? Yeah, I want to see them go to a white livery so they can be sponsored by the 80s parcel delivery firm White Arrow. Let's face it, all of us remember White Arrow delivery. They were the predecessors to DPD, let's face it. Yeah, you always got your catalogue stuff delivered and it was always smashed, but you were happy because, frankly, you'd done through the catalogue and you picked it.
If you're gonna do that and have it as like a DPD colour scheme, you've got to have Grosjean back because everybody knows it's just gonna get hammered.
Bring back Crash the Maldonado.
Yeah, put him as a Hermes logo.
You see, this could actually be a nice little side project. Maybe we should actually have different delivery firms actually having their own race series. Yeah,
well, let's go with UPS, didn't they? Let's go with UPS and FedEx. So we can't. Why can't we have Hermes and DPD?
Well, we have DHL and DHL are the official partners or whatever of Formula One. So yeah.
Yeah, this is it. We can get Parcel Force in there as well. We're already getting some teams in here.
Yeah, just smash it down at Amazon Prime down the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same day win. Do you know what I mean? Thoughts about the McLaren, because McLaren move over to a Mercedes engine for the first time in many years. What do we think on?
That's going to be very interesting, to be honest, because they've had to develop quite a different car. So they're the people that probably got the most different car out of all of them. Maybe the closest will be Ferrari on changes. But the thing that we're going to find here is it's either going to be brilliant or a dog. And I don't know which.
But is this the same principle as last year's Mercedes engine? Is this just another hand-me-down? Or is this technically a Mercedes rebuild for them?
Well, it's the customer spec, so it's the same spec engine that goes to Aston Martin. It's the same spec engine that goes to Williams. And
allegedly Mercedes.
Allegedly, yeah, because there's more. There's tighter control over the spec difference between the works teams and the customer teams. So yeah, it should be relatively similar.
Yeah, and let's face it, I'm sure Toto Wolff has actually got controls on all the cars where he can turn it down 50 horsepower.
We said if it's going to prove a good engine, customer wise, I reckon we can see some decent improvements with teams up in the top six. Do you know what I mean? Okay. It's going to be sort of, you're not going to be the third, just always giving the same teams top 4, top 5. Do you know what I mean? You're going to be mixing it here and there if you're going to have those kind of engines performing as they should from Mercedes.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned it last week, last time around. Vettel's really keen to get into the Aston Martin and actually see how good the Mercedes power package is. Actually get that on track. It doesn't look like that's going to be until sort of early March that they're launching their car, but that'll be interesting to.
Well, they've got to wait till Mercedes have launched theirs, because how are they going to copy it otherwise?
But I mean, also the concept is even if the Mercedes engines are fantastic, you still got to have a decent aero package to come with it.
Yeah, and let's face it, we know why they're going for dark green. It's not because it's Aston Martin. It's just a pretty good knockoff of a black Mercedes. Yeah. That's the real deal, you know. It's just easier to copy.
Probably.
And yeah, and no, another good thing about Mercedes, which is going to annoy Wolf intensely.
Go on.
Well, Damon Hill said yesterday that he's got insider information that Lewis Hamilton's about to sign a new 2-year deal with basically a veto on teammates. So he's going to sit there for another 2 years at least.
Well, yeah, I think that's there is the rumor it's almost signed sealed, but there is still a little bit of a disagreement over the 40 million a year contract, particularly with the cost cap coming up. That seems to be the sticking point, but I think everything else has been pretty much sorted out between the lawyers.
He's probably just going to suggest that they pay Bottas less so they can pay him more.
I mean, I've got nothing against Lewis staying there for another 2 years, winning another 2 years, being the greatest driver of all time, blah, 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 right? Got nothing on that. But don't overstep the mark and start vetoing other drivers and start being some sort of big I am, right? Don't overstep your mark. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I was saying to Lloyd earlier. I was saying, do you know what I mean? It's, you get in way above your station. You need to keep it to the humble person that he should be, rather than being I'm the God Almighty and be all and end all of all decisions. Because at the end of the day, he works for Mercedes. And he can be fired by Mercedes.
He can.
Yeah. But realistically, you know, no one's going to fire him. But I'd say one person who's turned back up in motorsport, and we mentioned him earlier, Grosjean.
Yep.
He's over in Indycar.
He is indeed. Before we get to that, I just wanted to mention one other thing about the Mercedes deal, engine deal, because that is opening up a conversation between Williams and Renault for Williams to be a Renault junior stroke customer team in the same way that Haas are for Ferrari and Sauber are for Ferrari. There is a conversation going on there between Williams and Renault to reunite again, and for Williams to be in effect the B team, if you like, or a customer team, but with a view then of them having a little bit more, having a bit more of a difference to some of the other teams on the grid who are taking Mercedes engine.
That one, I mean, they've got the worst aerodynamic package, so might as well have the worst engine package. Yeah, Wilf, I don't think you'll disagree with that.
Unless Williams start doing something proper, do you know what I mean? Just...
Yeah, but we've lost the Wilf.
Oh, he's back.
Damn.
No, you haven't.
But
behave yourself.
Dorilton Capital, who have invested, bought out the team and investing in the team. We've mentioned that Jensen Button's back in there as an advisor. They seem to be making all the right noises, and maybe this is a way to help push them up the grid. Who knows?
To be fair, joking aside, I think what they're doing is they're probably looking at a partnership which is going to help with the cost-saving exercise, which probably won't affect them anyway, but they're going to be able to save money elsewhere and actually pump it into other bits of development. So, Mickey taking aside, they are actually making a smart move there if they do indeed do that. I've also heard rumours that actually, what's currently Sauber Alfa Romeo are going to change engines, but I don't know how true that is. I think that's just silly season overriding.
Yeah,
we only know if Williams are going to be making the right strides forward if they start consistently getting into Q2.
Yes.
Right?
And I
with
can't
both
see,
cars.
and I can't see that happening this year. And I think with the regulation change for 22, with the engine, changing the engine regulations to 22, if they move over to Renault, to having a Renault power supply, think about what happened with the last engine change regulation. That was when they switched to Mercedes, and they were competitive. They were competitive in that first season of the hybrid era. So yeah, maybe it's the right thing to do.
I'd like to do it differently. I'd like to say the maybe least worst of the rest.
Well, they were the aside from Mercedes, they were the only other team on to take a pole position in that first season under the hybrid years. So that's competitive.
Yeah, least worst.
Well, okay.
I mean, they're gonna need whatever engine they go with, whatever package they go with, and unless the noises and the steps forward that they're making, and you're getting into Q2 and getting into Q3, you're always going to be the whipping boys.
Yep.
And you're always going to be sitting last because everybody else is going leaps and bounds ahead of you now. So unless you step it up, you're always going to be that Minardi. Do you know what I mean? You're always going to be that at the back.
Hey, look at Minardi now. As Toro Rosso / AlphaTauri / whatever else they're going to be next. They're not actually done too bad. They won again. Let's face it, at Monza.
Yep. Very true.
There is potential there. Otherwise we're just going to be sat here and going.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Moving over to Grosjean. He's going over to IndyCar to join the Coinware team. Some interesting thoughts there is that he's not taking part in any of the 4 oval rounds that have been announced for this season. He's only taking part in the road and street courses. Thoughts on that?
Well, let's face it, on an oval track, he gets so much speed. He's already proved he can get for a barrier on an ordinary circuit. He'll get into orbit on the off the back of an oval.
I don't know, how many cars they got in IndyCar now? Has it stepped up? Has it gone past 4?
Oh yeah.
Are they actually running it? It seems I've lost all board. My boredom level is just through the roof with IndyCar right now. So
actually, it's almost getting
how
back.
many cars and teams are we running?
You're back up to about 20 cars now. It's getting up to a decent field again. It's almost how it was in the mid late 90s.
Yeah.
See, I loved it back in the early 90s. That was such a fantastic era for IndyCar.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and some great drivers. Big Al, Little Al,
Middle Al.
You had both. You had both.
The Andretti's.
Yep.
Mansell.
Emo. Yep.
Yeah.
Emerson Fittipaldi, Jack Villeneuve making his debut, Paul Tracy, some great names.
Oh yeah, there's many things. It's you know what? I'd like to almost see IndyCar at Daytona.
Happened once. It has happened once, and it wasn't very successful.
Mainly because if you're in the south, if it's not a stock car, then they hate it.
No, I don't think. No, as in from a technical perspective, it wasn't very successful.
Oh, was it destroying tyres?
I can't quite. I need to go and have a look, but there was issues technically, and I can't remember exactly what. I'd have to have a look what it was, but there was issues technically, and that's why it didn't. They've not gone back.
All right, that's your homework for next week. Home learning right here. Yeah, we're supporting schooling.
But talking of Daytona, did any of you guys catch any of the action from the 24 hours over this weekend gone? Certainly looked very exciting. And how great was it to see Kevin Magnussen actually fighting for winning stroke podium positions?
It was very good, and also it was nice to see the Mercedes customer team actually win. It was it was certainly something a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean there was some great action all throughout, not just in the leading Daytona prototype class, LMP2, and as you say in the GT class as well. Some great action. Certainly shows that sports car racing is healthy, and there's some serious talent out there. Some serious talent.
Yeah, I mean, show too. But you putting Kevin Magnussen for a minute, it just shows that when you put Kevin Magnussen in something where he's much more comfortable, I really never thought he was comfortable in F1.
No.
But you put him comfortable in the GT series, and he proves that he is a very good driver. Yeah, but I think he's got to be in his comfort zone, and I think that's where his comfort zone is lying.
Yeah, and in fairness, if you look at his old man, Jan was much the same. It took him out of Formula One and put him into sports cars. I mean, you look at how many years he was leading the Corvette program for. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I think Will's basically knocked on the head there, to be honest. It's, he's found his niche.
Yeah. Well, the next IMSA race is at the Sebring. It's Sebring 12 Hours. That's coming up in March. So that'll be interesting to see how the battles there move forward. But talking about endurance and moving over to the World Endurance Championship, what we're more familiar with here in Europe. There's some talk about there being a hydrogen class at the Le Mans 24 Hours as part of their sustainability and what they're trying to do moving forward with that. And there's been some noise around Formula One about the future there, not necessarily going to electric, but looking at other types of fuel. And there is a thought that could be hydrogen or even synthetic petrols that are being developed, fully synthetic petrol type substances that are being developed. Thoughts on that, guys? Hydrogen into Le Mans in 2024. That's been announced this week.
It's one of those things. I think you're actually going to have to see it. It's Formula E. No offense, you could still call it Formula Scalextric, but it's it's going to be interesting. It's one of those things that I think I'm just going to hold my judgment, but I'm quietly hopeful, if I'm honest.
I mean, if they can put it a very sustainable, and they can test it and make it as reliable as it should be, then I don't see why it can't be converted over.
But this is the endurance racing where you can't have reliability. That's not allowed. Half the field has to stop halfway through. You how it works.
I was just about to say, we talk about reliability, but that's part of the fun of the Le Mans 24 Hours is how many cars actually make it through.
It was a pie in the sky notion that somebody just may be reliable at some point.
It's the most dangerous Le Mans drinking game, having a drink every time someone retires.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't let Wilf do that one anymore.
No, because in the first hour, I'm drunk.
30 seconds.
Yes. It was horrendous the years that the Panos were there.
Wilf was. I can't help it.
Yeah, Wilf was already a half.
Do you know what I mean? If there's a crash on the grid, I've got a drink.
Yep.
Yeah. Someone trips over.
You're just lucky I don't drink from the cars that start from the pit lane. If I have a drink every time someone starts from the pit lane, I'd be drunk before even cars get round to start.
Yeah. Okay, so but thinking though, about hydrogen alternative fuel. Okay, 2024, they're looking at getting a car or a hydrogen class together for Le Mans. But coming back to Formula One, if Stefano Domenicali's saying he's not expecting the future to be electric, so that doesn't give us a huge amount of options there on what that alternative fuel future is going to be. Now, is that going to be a fully synthetic petrol type substance, or is it going to be something like hydrogen? Is it going to be a hydrogen fuel cell future?
Yeah, but no, is he going to go the 50-50 route? Is he going to be going part electric, part synthetic fuels? Because you don't want to go fully electric, because then you're basically putting Formula E redundant.
Yeah.
Because there's no point having Formula E if Formula One's going to be fully electric. No, it's not. But then again, you're going to get Formula One Scalextric cars. So,
well, I've had Formula One Scalextric cars.
You get that hybrid.
I've got the figure of 8 set, yeah.
Nice.
And I've got the Le Mans 24 set.
Nice. I've got the one that's got the.
I have the Silverstone Scalextric set.
I've got the one from the 80s that got the little bit of oil that you create a little wheel spin smoke right at the start. Great.
Well, starting grid, yeah. I had the gantry as well with the lights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You were posh.
And the great thing with the figure of 8 banking one?
Yeah, I would back then on flush.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, you can pretend to be Roman Grosjean and stick them through the barrier.
Exactly. I mean, it's the thing, it's you sat downstairs in the living room at the parents' place, and you're thinking as a kid, I wonder if I could get mum in the kitchen with this.
Yeah, and trying to avoid the pet knocking it off the track.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's no one actually said that they were going to be sort of large cats, marauding over the Le Mans 24-hour circuit, did they?
No, it's surprising how many times that happens in Scalextric.
I know. It's strange. Or when you've suddenly got a dog with its nose in the way. It's no one ever tells you about this.
No, they don't. Well, guys, on that note, have we got any final thoughts for this week? We'll start with Tim.
Final thoughts for this week. You know what? I'm just I'm looking forward to the Formula One launches. There's going to be a couple of surprises in there. It's not going to be quite the launch scenarios that we had last year. It's all going to be a bit subdued, but you know what? I'm going to make a prediction now that Ferrari will finally abandon that nose that looks like someone's punched it in the face.
Okay. Wilf?
I'm looking towards Lewis not winning the title. That's my biggest hope, right? They don't want that to happen, right? But also than that, no. I mean, Grosjean coming back, going into IndyCar. That's all good news. And for the land speed records, just knock it on the head. Just give it up. We don't need it. It's not important.
No, fair enough.
The current situation.
No, totally agree with you on that. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And we'll see you next time.